So excited. So excited. We have the Terminator Captain, the new Terminator Captain from Leviathan. Here is the Leviathan book with all the instructions in and everything. Thank you very much to Games Workshop for sending me a copy of Leviathan to review for you all. And as always, whenever I get new kits, I like to do a quick review, breakdown, build guide so that you can all see the models, how it goes together, and any kind of conversions and bits which I do for them. I just think it's fair. Like, that's a cool thing to do. It's the least I can do. So we have the Terminator Captain here. Now I am gonna say right now I'm gonna convert something on this. He is going to be a Dark Angel. I am doing all my Leviathan Space Marine models going forwards are going to be Dark Angels Fallen / Redeemed. So we are going to be like taking off the Imperialis on his chest. We're going to change his sword and things like that. But here is the kit itself. It is all push fit, and yeah, we've got some cool stuff on here. We're going to get building in a second. I don't think there's anything on here which is particularly awkward in terms of snipping off. There's nothing fragile that I can see in terms of, sometimes I like to point out some of the kits and some of the parts that you should probably, like, if you're going to cut this sword out, I would probably cut this bit here first and then trim those two off, just so there's as little pressure as we can on some of the parts. But this all looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're going to clip all this out. We're going to build it up. Now the sword we might be swapping out. I've got some of the Forge World Dark Angels swords from the Terminator kit, so we might swap it out. I do like the big long double-handed sword grip down there, so we might swap the sword out for that. And then if we do, then this sword is actually going to go onto the Terminator Captain, the Terminator Librarian. Terminator Librarian, so tune in for that review as well. But I like the quality, the crisp and the clarity, the clarity of all the detail and everything. The Games Workshop are absolutely flying with that at the moment. I do like the little loincloth that's hanging down at the front. And also we have a tattered, which is absolutely perfect really for my kind of fallen vibe. We've got a tattered cloak, and it's tattered on the inside as well, which is nice. So we can do a little bit of freehand on there and tatter it up. But really nice model. Let's get it clipped out and see how he goes together and what parts we're going to convert. There we go. Let's go. Okay, so we have all, you've just seen me clean up all the bits. We've got all the bits here. They go together really, really well. Obviously, one of the first things I do with push fit, for me anyway, is just remove a lot of the pegs. Make sure that they're not particularly needed in terms of registration, but 9 times out of 10, you can take the. Oh my word! I can't hold things. You can take the pegs out, and then they fit. They fit together, and then you can just glue them in place. I appreciate that the reason why they're there is so that you can put them in, and you don't need glue. But there we go. Now, what you can also do, and I'm not quite sure what to do now. These, the old Terminator, Deathwing Terminator. And Knights, the Terminator Knights, the Dark Angels Knight bodies and things fit on pretty lined up perfectly and everything. There's a little bit of stuff to do. I don't know. You can just fill that black and like you wouldn't even notice that there's no like armor on the inside down here. But with what looks like very little work, I could have a Deathwing Terminator Captain, so I wouldn't have to remove these, remove this from the, remove the Imperialis from the chest. And I do quite like the look of do quite like the look of that. That does look rather cool. And then also one thing that is rather interesting. Obviously, the new Terminators are larger in scale and size and height and everything, which is awesome. They look amazing. However, they've kind of kept the scale. So that's the new Terminator hand. And I was thinking, oh, what I could do, I could just clip that hand off. And I was going to give it a census mace, or I don't know what these ones are called. I'm very, very sorry. But look at the difference in the size of the hand. The old Terminator hands are huge in comparison. So I might have to, if I do want to give him this mace, I might have to remove the sword, remove this, and then glue that on. Or I could just put the hand on and not worry about the scale difference. I'm not entirely sure yet. I'm very, very tempted to cut the hand off and just put it on there and see. Ultimately, I don't think you're going to notice because the other hand is holding the Stormbolter. Or I could have the other hand holding one of the Terminator shields, which we will definitely snip off in a second and just try on and see what the fit is like. But what we're going to do now is, I think I am going to do this. So we will take this off and we will fit it on and see how it all goes together. So I will come back in a second. Okay, you're gonna enjoy this one. I messed up. So I was building it, and as I was building it, I thought this guy would fit on really quite well. But if you look at it, he's turning the wrong way. So he's turning that way. So his loincloth is central. But when you put it on the captain like this, the loincloth is turned out like that, like it would go into the leg. There'd be a big gap here that we'd have to kind of sculpt into, which I don't really mind. I'm going to have to sculpt stuff on it anyway. Yeah, this didn't work. And I went to the sprue to have a look at some of the other ones. This one is actually smaller. You can see how small the aperture is here for the head. It's actually much smaller than that one, or it seems much smaller. And also the torso is much thinner as well, so that one didn't fit. That was the only one on the sprue that had a matching loincloth. If you look at the loincloth there, it matches in terms of the direction that the legs are and the way he's facing. So all these ones, although they fit the torso, are out of here. We don't want them. We can't use them. So you watch me kind of assemble it and get it all back together again. We have a little bit of sculpting to do down there just to fill it in, and that's not going to be a problem, because what we're going to do is we're going to sculpt some cloth onto the top of this and around there. So we're going to have some cloth underneath, a little bit like the Deathwing Knights. And the one thing we have managed to do though is we have managed to get one of these sensors. Just still drying a little bit. It's a little bit off center. And then there's a buzzy buzz. Yeah, so we have managed to get that on there. So at least he has a cool, badass looking Dark Angel weapon. And he's got his storm bolters there as well. So he's going to look like this. We're going to get to some sculpting and mix up some green stuff. And then we're going to run some cloth and some loincloths and everything down there. But he does look rather cool. I do also have the Dark Angel accessory sprue here, so we could put, for instance, we have got some Dark Angel's books, so we could hang some books from his belt as well. But yeah, so there we go. If you want to try and fit the Dark Angel Deathwing Knights torso onto the new Terminator Captain from the Leviathan box, don't, unless you do want to use one of the other ones and have a slightly smaller torso. But yeah, doesn't work. Doesn't work. Learn from my mistakes and don't do it. Right, let's get to some sculpting. And my phone is now going off as well. Right, catch you in a sec. So after being rudely interrupted by just some random cold caller, as always, I thought I would give a quick voiceover on converting up this. I don't know what it is. Is it just a census mace? I don't know what these ones are called. Anyway, you noticed me there. I snipped it off right in the middle of the hand. That gives you plenty of room to tweak and maneuver the cut around. I went to a knife so that I could trim it off the actual hand, the sword off the hand. I wanted to make sure that was a nice clean cut with no wastage, mainly because I'm going to be using that sword on the Librarian as well. Pop over to that video if you haven't seen that already. The one of the issues with cleaning up a weapon swap that's going to go onto a hand is that you have the space for a thumb to fit in, so you've got to just trim a little bit off. That you can see me doing there. You've got to trim a little bit out of the hand so that it fits around the thumb. But other than that, just keep making sure that you're going back and fitting it, just kind of showing it up onto the hand, and make sure that the cut is lining up so that it's vertical, trying to clean up any excess bits on the hand as well. It's really, really easy to do just with a very, very sharp knife. I'm not pinning this. I don't tend to pin my weapons. The glue that I use is an old railway glue that my papa used to. My papa gave me when I was very, very young for my Airfix kits, and I don't think I've ever gone back. So it's a glue called Mech Pack. You can get a cheap version of it on Amazon, but yeah, Mech Pack's amazing. As you can see here, just kind of it melts and glues straight away. You can then run a little bit of glue around the base just so that it runs in, and as you can see, we're just lining it up here to make sure that it fits and lines up with the mace hand and handle. So you want it to in a nice straight line there. But it glues very, very quickly. It melts together the plastic and makes a really, really good bond. I've never really had any issues. I've even been using it for my Lord of the Rings stuff. And yes, I occasionally catch them and snap them off. But like the Lord of the Rings stuff is so tiny, you can't really pin those either, and they've been absolutely fine with the glue. And so the next bit, once we've done that little census bearer, I do like the census bearer. I think the little census mace has kind of changed the look a little bit. I'm not completely convinced, however, on the plain chest piece. I think I probably should have left the skull in the centre of the Imperialis. I think that would have been rather good. I've started doing that on some of the intercessors. So the intercessors just have a single skull in the centre of the chest piece, and I think that just gives it a little bit more detail. Yes, you can kind of add scratches and battle damage in painting just to make it look a little bit more interesting, but yeah, I don't know. So what we're doing, we're mixing up some, basically it's like green put, so it's 50-50 milliput and green stuff, and yeah, it's 2-part epoxy, so you just kind of mix both parts of the milliput and the green stuff together, and they get roughly 50% of each, and you mix it together themselves, and you get that kind of really pale green putty. Now, it's I've been enjoying using the kind of the green put for a lot of the sculpting, and it's really useful for this sort of style of sculpting. If you want to do anything finer, so for instance the ropes that we do in a little while, I use just green stuff because you want a little bit of flex on that. You don't want it to be quite so brittle. So this milliput and green stuff is a bit more brittle, if you like. However, it smooths in really well. It's not quite as elastic as green stuff is, so you kind of take the elasticity out of the elastic properties out of the green stuff, and it smooths in. As you can see here, it smooths, and you can blend it in with the current model really, really well. So I do like using it for that. Just make sure a little bit of Vaseline, get your tools all Vaselined up. I had a little bit too much there, so I just swapped it onto another tool as well. I've got 2 tools ready to go. These are, I don't know whether I've got them here. They're clay shapers, and they are, I think these ones are firm. These ones that I've got, yeah, they're extra firm actually. So they're Royal Sovereign. I've got a couple of different ones. I've got extra firm, and I've also got firm as well. I should probably get a medium. They've got different colour tips as well, so they are very, very useful. And because they're silicone as well, they don't tend to stick to it at all. So just a little bit of Vaseline, and it works really well. So as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm just pushing the green stuff to fill the gap, and once it's all in there, we can sort of we can cut in some stretches and some creases, because this is supposed to be fabric underneath the chest plates that we completely ruined cutting it off trying to make it into a Dark Angel. Luckily the cut was really, really good, so a lot of the damage is disguised by just filling it with this green stuff bit in the middle. It's very, very good, very, very easy to do. I am getting a lot more confident, well, not really confident, but I'm getting a lot more comfortable in just getting some green stuff or some putty out and mixing it, and then and using it in conversions a lot more at the moment. So rather than trying to make plastic fit plastic, and yeah, I am getting a lot more happy with doing that. So from my point of view, I think that's good. It's giving me much more options for my conversions. Being rudely interrupted by my phone again. Sorry about that. So this, we are doing I wanted to do a rope across his chest just to add a little bit of detail. It was either going to be rope or chain, and I didn't have any. I wanted some 1mm chain, but I thought I'd do some rope. So if you are going to do this, I would recommend using this is pure green stuff again, so it's a little bit more elastic. I would recommend trying to get it a little bit thinner. It's quite tricky to roll, and also use a slightly larger bit of wax paper because you're just kind of faffing around trying to get it to fit. Yeah, I would roll it a little bit thinner because I was trying to make it small, and I didn't realise quite how small you had to make it. So this is 2 bits that you've rolled out. You've cut it in half, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put one on top of the other, which is a nightmare. I'm trying to do it really gently so I'm not squashing the sausage flat. But we're going to put it on like a little bit of an X up at the top, squash that together, and then you can twist it together to make the parts of a rope. So just how you would normally make a rope. So you pick it up once it's in that little cross shape, make sure both parts, both kind of tails are loose, and then simply just twist it together and you get a really cool little rope. If you notice, it's a little bit finer and tighter on one end. So what I did is if you put it on the paper, and then you can kind of roll it and stretch it as well, so you make it a little bit tighter in certain areas. But that's basically how you make a nice little rope. Now you could make it thinner. I probably should have done. You could make it thinner by twisting it and stretching it and rolling it again on the wax paper, on the greaseproof paper, and that would probably make it a little bit thinner. As you can see here, it's looking a little bit chunky, and I'd probably preferred it if it was a bit smaller. So this is the first little bit of rope that I've done. I've since done another one on the leg of an intercessor, and it was much finer and much smaller. So it's just that kind of little bit of confidence of, oh, okay, you can do it. Yeah, just twist it a little bit smaller. You can see me here just kind of trying to stretch it and making it a little bit thinner as well. But that's basically all you have to do, and then you anchor it on the top. So it's pushed down up towards the top, and then this is quite fresh green stuff, so it should be sticking to the chest. One thing when you are sculpting, try and have as clean a work surface and work area as you can. You don't want to get any little bits of dust or because I was filing the chest piece on this one with a file, so I had plastic dust all over the place. So if you are going to do this, try and have, sculpting is really important to have like a really clean area, and you don't want any dust getting into the green stuff. So yeah, again, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm not particularly clean. It's not a particularly clean area. I am in the process actually of revamping my desk and my workspace, so hopefully over the next few weeks I will have a completely clean and very, very organised, with lots of storage for everything that I need, area. So that's going to be a massive help. But yeah, there we go. So it's as simple as that. You make two sausage bits of green stuff, make an X, twist them together, and then you can place them on there. Now once you've anchored both ends, that's just some clay shapers anchoring both ends. You just get a knife, dip the knife in some Vaseline, and then you are able to just slice off both ends of the rope like this. So find where you want to cut it off, slice it off, and it goes. So make sure you get some Vaseline or some oil on your knife so it doesn't stick, and there you have your finished little rope. And then the last little bit I just stuck on a Dark Angel hanging thing as from the accessories brew. So place it on, add a little bit of glue, job's a good one. Very cool, I do like it. Check him out. Oh, he's so good. Right, so obviously I ruined the conversion halfway through. I thought it was quite cool for you to see it get knackered, and then what I did to correct it. Anyway, he's all together. We've got the rope across his chest, a little Dark Angel symbol hanging off, a little bit of a locked coffin with a key in it or something. We've got a purity seal hanging on that side there, and his head is not glued in, so that we can very, very easily drop that out and get that painted up separately, so that we can get a nice cool expression on him. So yeah, he will go in as per usual. There we go. No, nearly got it. There we go. So yeah, the model goes together really well. As you saw, there's not really any issues or build problems with that. There's the mold lines are a little bit stubborn on occasions, and I am quite pleased. What is this called, by the way? I'm going to have to do a quick Dark Angel deep dive and find out what all these cool weapons are called that the Deathwing Knights used to wield. But yeah, proper cool. The fallen / risen / redeemed models that the Lion has kind of come back with. I'm not entirely sure what their exact look is like, but I did want to take off the Imperialis off the vast majority of all the models. I could have, like with hindsight, maybe I could have left the skull in the center and then had the rope coming and falling underneath it somewhere. But ultimately, I think that's pretty cool. He's got the cloth on the inside there as well for covering up the cuts that we made to separate the body from the legs. So that will just be painted up as cloth, and it will look absolutely fine. Tempted to put an extra like loincloth bit hanging down there, but we will see. But other than that, I think he's properly cool. We get to play around with some freehand as well on the cloak. So tune in and find the next video where we paint the Terminator Captain from the Leviathan box. So thank you very much, everybody. As always, please like, share and subscribe this video because it is amazing, and that gets me one more subscriber towards my 1 million subscriber goal. Everybody loves Warhammer, so I'm sure there's a million people who like Warhammer. Anyway, drop me a follow on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Chris Frossin on both, and you can find me and catch up with me on Twitch pretty much 3 or 4 days a week. And that's at twitch.tv/Chris Frossin. So yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the short video of me smashing and ruining a conversion and then redeeming myself. And I will catch you. Maybe I will put a little purity seal on that side as well. And yeah, we've got some Dark Angels transfers to go on the tilt plates. Why has he got 2? I don't know whether you're supposed to have 2 tilt plates. Anyway, take care, everybody. The Headless Horseman is going to come and catch you in your dreams. Take care. Oh dear. Bye-bye, everybody. See you later.